I'm Matt McClure with agentandadvisor.com, and I am joined by Kelly Kleinsasser, the president of Forward Strategies. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, Matt, thank you. I appreciate being here, and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, this one is going to be fun, I think, and it's going to be helpful at the same time for all the agents and advisors out there. So today we're talking about the two most important things that your seminar likely doesn't have, but should. So lay the groundwork for us, Kelly, and because seminars can be very, very effective in spreading your marketing strategy and getting new clients in the door.
Yeah, they absolutely can, but there really is a structure that seems to work. And as you mentioned, seminar selling is actually one of the best, if not the best way to build your business. You basically get a first appointment with a captive audience for 45 minutes or maybe an hour. You get a chance to not only offer a meaningful message, but also socialize a bit with your prospects. Over the many years that I have worked with agents on their seminar presentations, I've discovered that the makeup of the seminar can make a huge difference in the number of appointments set at the seminar. And Matt, do you know what the most important thing, or the main reason you do a seminar? What's the most important thing to get out of that seminar?
Well, the most important thing I would think, just off the top of my head, prospects.
Exactly, prospects, right? But we would say they're appointments.
Yeah.
Right. Because appointments are really the only metric that counts when it comes to seminars. So as a gauge for how you're doing, if you're out there doing seminars, you should be setting appointments with at least 50% of the room. Now, it could be much better than that, but if you're falling below 50%, then it's probably because you aren't resonating in one of three areas. And the first area is, do your attendees think you know what you're talking about? Do you have the knowledge to help them? The second thing is, do your attendees like you? Are you the type of person that they want to spend some time with? And then that third thing is, do your attendees think you care about them and their situation? That old adage that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care resonates huge here. So I found that agents and advisors are really strong with that first one. A lot of times the presentations that they come up with, they're very, very heavy on quality information. And sometimes that information can get pretty technical. But even if it is overly technical, there's two things that you can add to your presentation to help appeal to less analytical prospects. So the first one is actually a joke. Okay, this is a non-offensive dad joke. It's something that might cause people to roll their eyes a little bit, but it helps make you human and much less intimidating. So I've seen the most success by inserting this joke about a third of the way through the presentation. Okay, Matt, here comes my joke. So I hope you are ready to laugh.
Okay, I'm ready. My laughing muscles are warmed up.
Awesome. All right, well, here we go. So my mom called me the other night and she was really upset. You see, my dad got himself into a bit of trouble. We all know that inflation has been really, really rough recently, and everyone's been impacted by it. So gas prices are up, clothing prices are up, food prices have skyrocketed. So it turns out my mom and dad were at the grocery store, and I guess the high prices got the better of my dad, and he was actually caught stealing a can of peaches. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I know, a can of peaches. So my dad had to go in front of a judge. The judge asks him, how many peaches were in that can? So my dad replies that there were 3 peaches in the can. The judge said, I understand things have been pretty rough for everyone recently, especially people on a fixed income. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm only going to sentence you to 3 days in jail. So that's 1 day in jail for each one of those peaches. My mom immediately jumps up looking as if to come to his defense and shouts, he stole the can of peas too. So that's my mom's financial plan, right? My dad's going to be in the pokey for a little longer, save a little on expenses. My dad didn't know about that plan. So look, it's important to have a well thought out financial plan before we get into trouble. All right. So the joke, it can be kind of corny, but it shows a side of you as a person that people like to see.
I think, by the way, Kelly, yeah. I think that joke was not corny. I thought it was just peachy.
Very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you. Brought it home.
So we've done seminars with and without the joke, and I can tell you it really does make a difference. All right. So the second thing that is missing from a lot of seminars is a heartwarming story or an emotional story. And the heartwarming story is simply a story that illustrates how you help someone at some point with something that they were struggling with. Now, I don't have time to go through an entire heartwarming story today, but I can tell you a couple things that it should include and a couple things that it should not include. So the first thing is it has to have a lot of detail. You need to color that story up. So interesting, a couple years ago, it's actually probably been 10 years ago now, we worked with an agent in California named Ophi, and she was from the Philippines. And her English was a bit broken. She didn't have the experience a lot of the other advisors had that we worked with. And we weren't really sure how she would do with her presentations. So Ophi consistently set a higher percentage of the room than any agent we have ever worked with, even since then. She did that because her heartwarming story was genuine, it was heartfelt, and it took the attendees on a journey. It was like watching a television show. She talked about a husband and a wife who were clients of hers. They were driving down the Pacific Coast Highway in the red convertible. They'd saved up for that car for years, and then how the husband had fallen ill. And so the story went on to illustrate how she was able to help them with some areas in their life from a financial standpoint. The story was extremely strong, and I am absolutely convinced that the primary reason that Ophi set so many appointments was because of that story. You have to put into that story emotions. Were people hurt? Were they laughing? Are they thoughtful? Emotions are the absolute key in that story. And what you want to stay away from in that, you want to stay away from technical aspects of the story. You don't want to include numbers and charts and amounts of money you save someone. There are other parts of your seminar that are going to illustrate that a whole lot better. And you know, Matt, a great book that illustrates some of these concepts, and I don't know if you can see it on here or not, but yeah, it looks like you can. It's Story Selling for Financial Advisors. It's by Scott West and Mitch Anthony. It is a great read. It illustrates some of these concepts extremely well. I looked it up on Amazon just before we went on air here, and it's about $35 through Amazon. You might be able to pick it up cheaper elsewhere, but it is still in print and it is for sale. So I might add that the joke and the heartwarming story, especially the heartwarming story, can be used in all of your first client appointments too. So it's that first time you're sitting down with a client and you're trying to get to know them, they're trying to get to know you. And I'm telling you that these two additions to your presentation can really make a difference.
Yeah, it makes that connection so much easier, so much more genuine. And that's really one of the big keys to success, I think, in this business. So yeah, great.
Absolutely.
Wonderful advice as usual there, Kelly. Kelly Kleinsasser is president of Forward Strategies. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you, Matt.